teacher banned. A Wake County educator is no longer a part of Scouting America after being charged with sex crimes. What we're learning about his involvement with the Scouts.
It's a comfortable afternoon in store, but our temperatures really climb over the weekend. I'll show you how many days in a row. We'll see highs in the 90s.
Drought conditions remain. It's been nearly a month since Raleigh put water restrictions in place. What the city is doing to conserve water as we're expecting hotter temperatures this weekend.
It is a beautiful afternoon with comfortable temperatures, but that will change this weekend, as you just heard. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Laura Levine.
And I'm Chris Ledman. Thanks so much for joining us. I mean, it'll still be beautiful, just the temperatures, maybe a little higher than comfortable. We've got Elizabeth Gardner to talk about that with a look at the summer pattern that we kind of have starting tomorrow.
You know, plenty of people come up to me and say, I love it hot. So if you love it hot, this weekend is going to be for you. For some of us, it may be just a little bit of a rough transition because we haven't seen that full-on heat and humidity together really yet this year, but it's coming our way. It looks absolutely gorgeous outside right now. Nothing but blue skies, a couple of puffy clouds. It is pleasantly cool outside right now, 69 degrees. We have a little bit of a breeze. Wind is coming out of the northwest right now, but in the next 24 hours, it shifts to southwesterly, and that's what's going to help to push that warmth right back into our area. 68 Holly Springs, 69 Raleigh, 67 Wake Forest. So pretty much everybody mid to upper 60s right now. On our way into the upper 70s in the Triangle and to around 80 degrees in Fayetteville this afternoon. Weekend outlook. Well, today looks great at 77, but we're going to add 10 degrees to that tomorrow at 87 and then to 92 on Sunday. And once we get into the 90s, this is not going to be just a day or two. This is a streak, almost a heat wave that we'll see. And we'll start to see the humidity kicking in also. I'll let you know which day it's going to start to feel muggy coming up.
Okay, Elizabeth, thank you. This morning and today marks nearly a month since water restrictions were put in place in Raleigh. Out of Raleigh Water's 660,000 customers, only 17 warning letters have been sent out since those restrictions began. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey tells us why leaders say residents should keep on with those current restrictions.
Watering your lawn and your plants is the #1 driver for increased demand for water, especially during hot days like what we're expecting to see this weekend. That's why the city's message today is to keep following their guidelines. Water levels here at Falls Lake give us an indicator of where we are with this ongoing drought. Let's take you to new Sky 5 video that captures just how low lake levels are right now. As of this week, Ed Butkin with Raleigh Water says the lake is at 77%. That still fits the criteria for stage 1 restrictions. He says following water restrictions becomes even more critical as it gets warmer.
Only irrigate on the day that's permitted. It's Tuesdays, odd addresses, Wednesdays, even addresses. And to irrigate usually in the early morning or around dusk, where evaporation is lowest rather than the middle of the day.
Charlotte went into stage 2 restrictions today, but it's a while before we could get there in Raleigh. Butkin says that water levels here at Falls Lake would have to drop 22% this month in order for that to happen. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News at Falls Lake.
Well, new this hour, we are learning the Broughton High School teacher charged with sex crimes has been banned from Scouting America. Stephen Coles faces 13 child sex crime charges, and he is currently suspended with pay from the high school. Let's go ahead and bring in WRAL's Sean Gallagher. Sean, what so far have we learned about his specific connection to the Scouts?
Yeah, right now we're still trying to figure that out about exactly what type of role he had within the Boy Scouts here in Raleigh. But the Occoneechee Council for Scouting America says that his membership has been permanently revoked from any participation with the Scouts for the future. Now, in a statement, Scouting America says they are aware of the arrest of Stephen Coles, adding his membership has been revoked permanently and that they continue to cooperate fully with law enforcement. And when we look at Coles' Facebook page, it includes dozens of photos from apparent scouting trips that appear to include overnight camping outings as well. Coles was charged with child sex crimes against at least 3 juveniles dating back to at least 2005, though it's not clear if these incidents happened during Boy Scout trips or not. He remains behind bars right now with no bond. And we do have questions for Wake schools that we've submitted about why he wasn't fired after a 2022 investigation where he was suspended both with and without pay. They tell me they are currently working on a response. In Raleigh, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Sean, thank you. President Donald Trump returns to the U.S. from China today. Both sides say that the visit was productive and tout progress in stabilizing relationships between the countries. Janice McKay-Frayer breaks down the trade agreements from Beijing.
President Trump left Beijing after a two-day summit here with China's leader Xi Jinping, saying they made fantastic trade deals, but neither side has announced any breakthroughs. Trade was a top item on the agenda, along with the Iran war, fentanyl cooperation. There were warm words and pleasantries, talk of cooperation. President Trump said China would buy 200 Boeing jets, but neither Boeing nor Beijing have announced or confirmed it. A business delegation of more than a dozen CEOs were along for the trip to gain access and influence in the Chinese market, but deep differences remain between the U.S. and China over tariffs, rare earths and critical minerals, and Taiwan. Xi warning that mishandling the Taiwan issue could lead to a clash and jeopardize U.S.-China relations. The summit's second day was at Zhongnanhai. It's the compound that is the seat of power for the Communist Party here. The two leaders took a private walk and looked at trees and roses, both leaning into the optics of the scene, showing personal diplomacy. It was unusually intimate for Chinese officials and rare. Not many world leaders get to go there. On Iran, President Trump said they agree Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon and that the Strait of Hormuz must remain open.
And that was Janice Mackey-Freyer reporting. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the U.S. will not be asking for help in ending the war in Iran.
Well, while we're talking about Iran, Laura, these new developments include the United Arab Emirates building a new oil pipeline that will bypass the Strait of Hormuz. The project will double the country's export capacity. The UAE is a major player in the global energy market. In fact, most of its oil was exported through the strait until the waterway was effectively shut down by this war. Well, this month, the UAE withdrew from OPEC to break free from production restrictions set by the cartel. The new pipeline is scheduled to be operational by about 2027.
After 8 years at the helm of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell's tenure comes to an end today. Powell's greatest success is undoubtedly preventing a long and deep recession during the COVID-19 pandemic. He did that by slashing interest rates to nearly zero and implementing lending programs for businesses. One of his hardest and harshest critics was President Donald Trump, who routinely berated him publicly. Powell stood firm and refused to bow to political pressure.
It's worth noting that Powell was also a Trump nominee in that regard. And the Trump administration is searching for a new head of Border Patrol. Michael Banks submitted his resignation effective yesterday immediately. And Banks says that he wants to spend time with his family. And his resignation comes a month after acting ICE Director Todd Lyons announced his plan to step down May 31st.
A federal hearing was delayed for the South Carolina man arrested for threatening to kill the president. Daniel Swain was arrested in Apex last month for threatening messages towards the president written on his car. He did not appear in court today, but his attorney requested the hearing be continued, stating it's been difficult to communicate with Swain while he's being held in Virginia and that they need time to investigate a release plan. The attorney declined to comment any further. Swain's state charges for drug possession and resisting arrest were dropped earlier this month. He'll be back in federal court in early June.
I'm Elizabeth Holmes in the WRAL Live Center. Fayetteville's fire hazmat crew right now responding to a fuel leak. This is along I-95 between the exits of 49 and 52. You can see crews there on scene, and it looks like an emergency management vehicle may have been involved. Again, another look on I-95. Right now, it's unclear what actually caused this fuel leak. Officials say that no lanes are closed at this point, but do expect slower traffic on I-95 North if you're heading in that direction.
Very useful information there, Elizabeth. Thank you. The Triangle is packed this weekend with festivals and fun events, but rising costs are putting pressure on the organizers of these festivals. WRAL's Kirsten Clark shares why organizers say they don't want to pass costs on to the people attending.
They're expecting a big turnout here at the State Fairgrounds for the Got to Be NC Festival. And if you take a look around, you can see there are several carnival rides, food stands, and other vendors. But the price for all of this to get here has only gone up. I spoke with organizers of Got to Be NC, the Bimbay Cultural Arts Festival, and Artsplosion. They say increased fuel prices makes traveling for vendors and ride operators more expensive. In Durham, Bimbay organizers say they're having to think creatively to maximize the festival's set budget. Artsplosion Executive Director Michael Lauder described the rising price for necessities like materials, equipment, and labor. He says overall costs have gone up 8 to 9% year over year.
We want people to come and discover great visual art, great craft, great performers. I think we can continue that. But if the economy continues the way it does, then who knows?
Organizers of each event say it's really the vendors, the volunteers, and the attendees that make these festivals what they are. Thankfully, they say they have not had to pass any extra costs on to them, but that could change if prices continue to rise. In Raleigh, at the State Fairgrounds, Kirsten Clark, WRAL News.
Let's talk about the Carolina Hurricanes now. They are one game closer to finding out who they'll play in the Eastern Conference Final. Montreal pulled out the 6-3 win against Buffalo last night in their series. The Canadiens are up 3-2 and 1 win away from the conference final. Game 6 of the series is tomorrow night. The outcome of Game 6 in that series could also determine when the Hurricanes' next game is. If the Canadiens win and advance to the conference final, the series will start on Tuesday, and Game 2 would be next Thursday. Now, if Buffalo wins tomorrow and forces Game 7, Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final will start next Thursday, and Game 2 will be the following Saturday. Listen, no matter the outcome, Games 1 and 2 will still be played at Lenovo Center.
Well, next at noon, deadly plane crash aftermath. What we know about the people killed when a plane went down in a neighborhood and what went wrong that let this happen.
Plus, preventing future tragedy. The step leaders in Texas took to better prepare people for severe flooding after the campers killed at Camp Mystic.
Plus, hospital readiness. Why North Carolina is surprisingly well prepared for a hantavirus outbreak.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
And the WRAL Camera Network, this is our view from top of the hill over in Chapel Hill. Plenty of cars buzzing about, enjoying this beautiful day as you're watching WRAL News, which is available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. 2 people died yesterday when a small plane hit a house in Akron, Ohio, and now federal authorities want to know what happened here. The plane was in the air for more than an hour and reportedly was preparing to land. Well, then something went wrong, causing the plane to crash into a home. Both people aboard were killed and no one inside the home was hurt. The impact sparked a fire that damaged the garage. And video from the scene right here, it shows the flames and emergency teams that were responding to this.
And you just heard a real quick whining of it, like it was like revving. And then all of a sudden, boom, and an explosion. And our house shook and it scared the crap out of us. And everybody started running outside to see what happened and where it was.
The Red Cross is helping a couple and 2 children who lived in the home, and the owner of a flight school at the Akron-Fulton Airport said that high winds were an issue at the airport around the time of the crash, and investigators are going to take that into consideration.
A state lawmaker from Ohio is walking 72 miles for mental health awareness. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. State Senator Willis Blackshear is walking from Dayton to Columbus, Ohio. The walk will take about 4 days. The senator is proposing a bill there that would require schools to count mental health days as excused absences.
I encourage people to continue to advocate, reach out to your legislators, try to come out to the state house, show up at town halls. People need to hear from the people.
93 deaths by suicide in 2024 in Ohio. That number dropped by 17% last year. They hope to continue that downward trend. Or 7, or someone that you know is experiencing mental health issues, let them know that they can call or text the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988.
To be clear, it is okay to not be okay. Just help warning. Well, flood warning sirens are being installed along the Guadalupe River in Texas, and this is happening nearly a year after more than 100 people died in that catastrophic flooding. When flooding happens, lights will be activated and sirens will blare, and there will also be a loud message warning people of the flood danger and tell them to run to higher ground.
People are going to be drawn to the water. You give it enough time, people want to come enjoy the water. Kind of have to figure out a way to do it safer. Can't do the same thing we've been doing.
The system will also send a warning to the other towers upriver, and the towers have already been installed for at-risk camps along the river. Just tragic that happened there. We do want to swing over to our weather here because it's going to be very quiet for the most part. It's going to be very hot, though. Some people out there in Southern Pines hitting the links to enjoy the day.
Yeah, this is the day to get out and enjoy it. Absolutely. It looks gorgeous out there. I was out just a little while ago, a little breezy, a little crisp and cool outside. Gorgeous sunshine, too. So definitely get out and enjoy it. 69 is our current temperature. Our wind right now is still out of the northwest, but temperatures will be a bit warmer than they were yesterday. And we're still looking at a nice warm up for tonight and tomorrow. Climbing to the mid 70s this afternoon, but right now it's 69 in Holly Springs, 67 in Nightdale, and 66 up in Durham. Around town, temperatures, again, upper 70s to right around 80 degrees all across our viewing area. So it's really going to feel great out. This is going to be a good day to be outside wherever you're headed. Got to Be NC Festival is just one of the many things happening across our area this weekend. And it kicks off right now. It started at noon. If you're headed out after work, though, 73 degrees at 6 p.m. and then 63 at 10 p.m. So you probably want to take along at least a light jacket with you. It is Artsplosion weekend and so many other things that are happening all across our area. 87 Saturday and 92 on Sunday. Sunday is the day that we start to see the humidity creeping back in. We really haven't seen very much of that this year. Right now, temperatures are still running below normal, but not for long. We'll, of course, warm up this afternoon, and then the warmth just continues. Notice that we start to see some of the cooler air arriving as we get into the middle of the week. Now, Wednesday is still going to be really warm for us, and probably Thursday too. But the big question is, we have a front that'll come through, and is it going to arrive with some rain on Thursday? That's certainly a possibility. So it was in the mid 40s this morning. We're looking at cool temperatures again tomorrow. But once we hit the 90s on Sunday, we're also going to see the morning lows about the same. Temperatures will be in the 60s. So we're going to see both morning lows and afternoon highs climbing. The May average of 90-degree days is only 2, and we have 5 in a row in our forecast. We haven't seen any so far this May, but our normal first 90-degree day of the year happens May 11th. However, we did see a number of days in the 90s way back in April. Now, in April, the muggy meter was right around comfortable, even on the 90-degree days, and that's not going to be the case this time. This system's going to have a big tug on the moisture that's down in the Gulf and pull it right into our area. So Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday are likely to be right there in the steamy zone, and so that's really going to make it feel even worse. So it'll feel like mid to upper 90s. Sunday through at least Tuesday, if not Wednesday as well. And so those days, we do have a risk of extreme heat with that heat index climbing into the mid to upper 90s. That could affect the health of some folks. So we'll keep our eye on that for you. Notice that we have highs in the 90s from Sunday all the way through Thursday. Thursday, again, we do have that high of 90, but we have the possibility of some rain. Right now, we're going to give it 50% chance, but coming up in just a little while, I'm going to walk you through the timeline for Thursday and talk about the potential for some rain even into the Memorial Day weekend.
It's a lot of nines there, Elizabeth. Lots of nines. All right. Well, coming up at 4 o'clock this afternoon, Safer Streets, the project to put a traffic signal and make pedestrian crossing improvements at an intersection parents say is dangerous.
Then at 6, will sports bettors pay more? What lawmakers are considering to help cover rising costs as they negotiate a budget. Coming up next at noon now, a satellite solution. Cell phone carriers are teaming up to deliver service to dead zones. How the major networks are connecting you even where their towers can't reach.
Plus, humanoid robot race. The U.S. and China are battling for tech dominance. The latest developments in human-like machines.
And if you see breaking news, have a story tip, or take video or pictures of the weather, please report it to us. You can go to WRAL.com/report it to send your video, pictures, or tips to our news team.
Well, looks like some cell phone carriers are teaming up to boost coverage across the United States. People who live in or visit remote areas will soon have better cell phone signals. 3 top mobile carriers are teaming up for this: AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. And they say their joint venture involves enhancing satellite capacity. And that way, the customers can get signals even when they're far away from cell phone towers. Meanwhile, Meta is bringing third-party apps to its Ray-Ban display glasses. Outside developers will now be able to experiment with display-enabled apps and the device's neural band controller. Meta will work with apps that have a corresponding iOS or Android mobile app and will be also capable of being compatible with web apps. Meta is also considering mini games that you can play through the glasses.
China is the world leader in humanoid robots, and it's not just their feats of strength, agility, and machine learning, but their incorporation in daily life across the globe. NBC's Tom Yamas takes us inside the humanoid robotics company, where customers can order different robots and have them delivered.
Inside the ex-humanoid plant in Beijing, a new generation of robots is taking shape. Step by step, the robots are assembled, tested, and then programmed. They're big, bulky, ready to run or crawl through hazardous terrain.
It looks aggressive. It's marching. Should it be seen as something that is going to be maybe part of your military one day?
No, no. Yeah, we don't want the robots to do that. Yeah, we want robots to help people.
The company says these robots will make living easier by helping humans and could even be used in emergency situations.
So when you talk about helping out in the house, give me some examples, like help watch the children, help maybe elderly residents, clean dishes. I mean, what is it going to do?
The elderly, maybe, because less and less people want to have kids nowadays.
It's clear there's still a lot of experimenting going on, including this silicone-like face on the humanoid head.
What is this?
It's a bionic face because, like, in the future, we want the robot have more, how to say, like temperature. So we want it like also look like humans.
So you're going to put these faces, these heads on the robots?
Yeah, like in the future.
Ex-Humanoid says these robots are still 3 to 5 years from hitting the market. Most of the functions we saw were controlled by remote, but the goal is full autonomy.
There is a big gap between what they can do physically and what they can do autonomously. This is where they need the training data and they need the improvements in the AI.
Yeah, wow. That was Tom Yamas reporting. China is in an all-out sprint for tech dominance, of course, with over 150 companies trying to outproduce the rest of the world.
There's a whole game about that called Detroit Becoming Human. Google it. Let's see how people feel after that. Any doodles, it's 12:24. We're talking about fixed income struggles. Costs are going up and retirees are feeling the pinch from this. How you can better navigate the effects of inflation.
And best bedroom temperatures. As we approach summer, many may have a hard time catching some Z's. In our next half hour, a sleep expert explains why keeping a cool room could improve your sleep. And here are the winning lottery numbers. We'll be right back.
Live from WRAL News headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
All right, we have a heads up for drivers now. There's a major road closure that could affect your weekend plans. Starting tonight, NCDOT is shutting down most of the I-440 Western Boulevard interchange. WRAL's Ali Katlabar tells us more about this final push for that project.
And hopefully there will be some relief for drivers Monday. Right now I'm going to flip the camera so you can see we are driving through that interchange right now, which will be closed later tonight. You can see those barrels and crews working. It's been like this for years now. And tonight NCDOT will be shutting down most of the intersection to finish up the project. Here's a map of the two routes marked in yellow that will be open this weekend. You can take I-440 west to westbound Western or I-440 east to eastbound Western Boulevard. The 6 other interchange routes will be closed. The green arrows show the 2 detours, Melbourne Road and Hillsborough Street. NCDOT says it's one of the final pushes for the project.
It is a very big closure, and after we reopen Monday morning, all lanes that are available will be open, so we'll have no closed lanes, and traffic will be in its final pattern at Western Boulevard.
The closure is from 8 tonight to 5 a.m. Monday. NCDOT says you may still see some crews working on final touches after that. And there are multiple projects at 440 interchanges. Well, NCDOT says those should be complete in the summer. Reporting in Raleigh, Ali Katlabar, WRAL News.
Elizabeth Holmes here in the WRAL Live Center. Today, the CDC says that there are no confirmed cases of hantavirus in the United States. They said the one American who originally tested positive may not have even had the virus at all. And that's, they say, is because they didn't find any antibodies in their blood work. Now, of course, this all stems from an outbreak that happened on a cruise ship. We know 3 people died from that outbreak. Health experts do say that the number of people being monitored for the virus may grow. Right now, it's a little over 40 people being monitored.
And with that in mind, Elizabeth, some of you may be asking, how prepared is North Carolina for the hantavirus? It turns out better than most states. UNC Hospital in Chapel Hill is one of 13 facilities in the country with specialized units designed for these situations. The unit was created after the 2014 Ebola virus outbreak. UNC health leaders say the unit hasn't been used yet, but they're ready if needed.
Anyone from across the country could go to any one of these centers. So we could potentially get cases. Let's say there was a whole bunch of, hopefully there wouldn't ever be, but a whole bunch of hantavirus cases at the quarantine facility in Nebraska. They could distribute those to these centers.
The unit has 70 active members in Chapel Hill and has trained nearly 180 medical personnel in emergency response.
Well, I'll tell you, from utilities to groceries to gas, people are really starting to feel the full effect of rising prices. Joe Vasquez spoke with a senior citizen about the difficulty of living on a fixed income.
Before Becky Minton retired in 2019, she worked for a major insurance company. It allowed her and her late husband, Pete, to build a quaint life for themselves in Brandermill, raising 2 children in their 4-bedroom house.
I found it to be quite affordable.
Since her husband's passing 7 years ago, Becky lives alone in that home with her dog Schnitzel. Between Social Security and her pension, Becky has about $2,400 to live off of a month. And while she admits that's modest compared to other people, in this economy, it's not getting her as far as she'd like.
It is stressful with the prices, just seemingly no end to them going up. But like I said before, I'm in a survival mode.
While she is grateful her home is paid off, her bills include car and long-term care insurance, gas, which has gone up nearly 30 cents in Virginia in just 1 month, utilities, which she just paid a $1,000 bill from the winter, and food, which the average grocery bill has gone up nearly 3% from this time last year.
That's a shock to the system. And when you're a senior on a fixed income, you know, I can't go out and get a job. I don't have the energy level anymore to do that.
Inflation surged to 3.8% in April, the highest it's been in 3 years. Becky not only worries for working families, but other seniors who may be living on less.
I consider myself to be very fortunate because I know that there are Lord knows how many people out there that are truly in a panic mode.
Becky says that she's learning to cope with this new expensive reality, but just hopes that younger generations aren't in the same situation when they're her age.
And I wonder if they'll have to spend their entire life worrying about once they get to their own seniorhood. And will they be prepared for it?
That was Joe Vasquez reporting. And there are several ways seniors can navigate the effects of inflation, including delaying collecting Social Security benefits too early, cutting unnecessary expenses, and rebalancing your portfolio in order to limit risk. Coming up at 12:30, we're talking about catching Z's. Experts say the temperature in your room could be the reason you're tossing and turning. We're going to tell you the magic number for a better night's rest.
And Art Explosion, one of the city's longest running festivals, returns to Raleigh this weekend. The hundreds of vendors and artists on display. Download the new WRAL weather app and plan ahead for severe weather anytime. Turn on alerts to get notified about severe weather in your location. It's free wherever you download your apps. It's Mental Health Awareness Month, and one medical center in California is launching a new program to help mothers of NICU babies. Being a parent of a newborn can be joyous, but can it also have a significant impact on your mental health, especially for parents in the NICU? Postpartum depression for parents in the NICU is close to 50%. A medical center in California is offering screening, telehealth specialists, and peer counselors to address mental health concerns affecting parents of NICU babies. The program also offers help with basic needs like transportation, food, and childcare for siblings. A new study suggests there is no clear link between taking antidepressants during pregnancy and autism and ADHD in children. Researchers examined dozens of studies involving 600,000 pregnant women taking antidepressants. Initially, they found a higher risk for ADHD and autism when either the father used antidepressants or when the mother used them during pregnancy. However, the researchers say most links significantly weakened or disappeared when they accounted for other factors that can affect risk for the conditions.
So experts recommend keeping your room cool as the nights start to warm up. A bedroom temperature of about 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit is often recommended for sleep. Keeping your bedroom within this range can help you fall asleep and stay asleep throughout the night. One sleep specialist recommends adjusting your thermostat before bed or even using a fan, and it's also best to avoid caffeine and sugary foods close to bedtime. Both of these can raise your body temperature and make it hard to sleep more comfortable.
Your body's core body temperature is supposed to drop down lower and lower to its minimum during your sleep, and that correlates with your circadian rhythm. And so if it's not able to drop quite down to the level it wants to because you're too hot, then your brain is going to say, what's going on? Are we getting that deep sleep that we need? And really, you're not getting that refreshing sleep that you need.
Sometimes you just need to have a little shredded cheese before bed. That's what I'm saying. Well, you also want to make sure that you prepare your sleeping environment for those later sunsets as well. Blackout curtains, maybe even ear muffs or earplugs so that you can go to sleep. I have a smart mask. That's what I use to listen to Bluetooth and some white noise. You can even, of course, use the white noise. And this way it masks any kind of disturbance that may be disturbing your sleep.
Well, get ready for one of the longest running arts festival in North Carolina. Artsplosion returns to downtown tomorrow, featuring nearly 200 visual artists from across the country. The two-day event features a market with work from across the country. And whether you enjoy ceramic, glass, or fiber arts, or metal and jewelry, there's something for everyone. There's also original artwork by the best young talent across Wake County's middle and high schools. You'll also enjoy live music and activities for kids, as well as installations. Artsplosion, the Raleigh Arts Festival, kicks off again tomorrow at 11 a.m. There's also a full day of events planned for Sunday starting at 10 a.m. Artists will showcase their works, as mentioned, ceramics, glass, wood, and more. There's also arts-based activities for children. WRAL's Ken Smith and Elizabeth Gardner will be there and MC some of those events, and WRAL is a sponsor.
And then tomorrow, Laura, the Bembe Cultural Arts Festival is happening in Durham. The festival is a celebration of African and African-American heritage. This will feature live music, a market with work from local artists, food, and more. That event is tomorrow from 1 until 7 p.m. at Rock Quarry Park. And if you didn't know, WRAL is a media sponsor. Your time right now is 12:40. Touring tombs. Egypt has opened 2 burial sites for public viewing. The ancient artifacts now on display. Well, this weekend is the annual Crank Up at Old Gilliam Mill Park in Sanford. Crank Up meaning crank up the old steam engines, the tractors, the sawmills, and the grist mill, plus food and vendors. And this afternoon, we find our Tar Heel traveler in Lee County. Scott Mason takes us back to 2008 when he visited the man who created the Crank Up on his historic property.
Is an old-timer who builds things the old-fashioned way, with his hands. The big wheel turns. The grist mill churns.
I'm real proud of it.
And Worth Pickard
that's me.
Watches his work.
I built all of this.
He built the mill in just 1 year. And he built the print shop.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing here when I started.
He built the pottery plant and the blacksmith shop.
It does a purpose.
Then there's the sawmill.
That's a shingle saw.
And the cabin and the pond.
Well, I'm right proud of it. It's about 2-acre pond.
The pond powers the mill, but what in the world powers the man? 79 years old, most people would be slowing down.
Well, I am. You see how I walk, you can tell I'm slowing down.
Worth Pickard has built 8 buildings over 30 years at Old Gilliam Mill Park in Lee County. Are you tired?
No, I'm not tired. I'm just wore out.
Worth was a well driller for 50 years, built this place on nights and weekends.
And it's built the old-timey way.
Of course it is. His beloved covered bridge.
Well, the bottom them is pegged together.
He pegged it himself.
Last year, this woman wanted to get married in the covered bridge. Said, "You reckon the bridge will hold us up?" I said, "Ma'am, if y'all ain't gonna be in trucks, it'll hold you up."
Are they still married?
Oh yeah, they still married.
Happy, safe, and sound. And home.
I was born here and I want to die here.
Surrounded by all your work.
That's right.
Now, Worth Pickard passed away in 2015, 7 years after that interview, but the Crank Up event is held every May on that same property in Sanford. The Crank Up is Saturday and Sunday, featuring plenty of history and vendors, as well as children and family events.
I'm Elizabeth Holmes here in the WRAL Live Center. We are following a report of a car that crashed into a Lowe's Foods in Clayton. This is live Sky 5 video. You can see them panning in here. It looks like the vehicle may have actually been removed from the scene, but you can see just what looks like brick asphalt that has been pulled up from that crash. At this point, we do not know if anyone was injured. We don't know how many vehicles were involved. We know of at least one at this point. Again, this is off of Highway 70 in Clayton. We'll be sure to share updates as we get them.
Here in the WRAL Live Center with Elizabeth Gardner. Elizabeth, we are already really beginning to feel the temperatures rise today.
Yeah, it's such a pretty day. Hopefully people can get outside and enjoy it. It's just so pretty. Lots of people walking around here at Fenton in Cary with these lovely feeling temperatures. Today feels nice and comfortable, but that won't be the case going forward into the weekend. Right now, we still have winds coming out of the northwest at 8 miles per hour, and that's going to keep our temperatures from climbing into the 80s today. Right now, it is 69 degrees in the Triangle, and we're seeing similar temperatures elsewhere. This high pressure system is the key to our big warm up. Right now, it has winds rotating around it coming out of the northwest, always around a high. The winds rotate clockwise. But as that high moves off to the east, it's going to shift our wind. Back here in Tennessee, the wind is already coming out of the south, and it's that southerly wind that will start to shift across our area tonight and tomorrow that will really help to warm us up. That high is going to sit offshore then and just continue to pump the heat and the humidity into our area. You'll start to notice it tomorrow. We were talking about all the amazing events happening across the area this weekend. The Bembe Cultural Arts Festival is one of those. If you want to avoid the most intense part of the heat of the day, I would try to be there at maybe 11 to maybe 1 or 2, because once we hit 3 to 5 o'clock, that's when it's going to get hottest. Temperatures will be in the mid to upper 80s. Take a look at Sunday. Then we jump to 90, and it doesn't stop there. 5 days in a row with highs in the 90s. And I'm sure that we haven't seen that in quite some time, probably last July by the time we saw 5 days in a row in the 90s. So we do have the potential for some rain on Thursday. That's going to be our next big weather maker. It looks like once we set up this pattern on Thursday, it could continue into the Memorial Day weekend. The rain could start as early as Thursday. That's Thursday, or we'll start with Thursday. This is Thursday morning at 5 a.m. And you can see at 7 o'clock some showers and thunderstorms moving through. Now, I'll go ahead and play this out through the weekend, but there's no real point in looking at when it's raining or how much it's raining, because it will change. Today, of course, is Friday, and that is the following weekend. And that's why we don't have a 7-day forecast. We just see so much change in the models that far out. But what I do want you to take from this is that we do have a good chance for a much wetter pattern for the weekend next weekend. And I know it's holiday weekend. A lot of people have plans. I do too. We need the rain. And so it could start Thursday and continue, maybe not each day, maybe not Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, but it does look like at least 1 or 2 of those days could also be wet. Between now and Thursday, we can see about 1/4 inch, but we need so much more for spring. Just the spring, we're 6 inches below normal. Spring meteorologically starts on the 1st of March, and so far this one is the driest on record, with no real chance to see that change. The drought monitor came out yesterday. We were fortunate that we didn't see any change. Our extreme drought did not move into any additional counties, but it will if we don't continue to get some rain. So rain potential between now and Thursday is only 1/4 inch, and total we still need about 10 to 14 inches. Artsplosure is also happening on Saturday, and again, like the Bembe Festival, the earlier you go, the cooler it will be. It'll be even hotter on Sunday, so Saturday may be the better day to head out there. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. Again, today just 77. Today by far the coolest day of the week. Once we hit Sunday, again, we have that string of 90s in our forecast.
Got to stay hydrated on those days for sure. Okay, thanks, Elizabeth. Well, historically relevant music is what we're talking about next. Taylor Swift and Beyonce among the artists being recognized. The latest addition to the National Recording Registry.
And this evening on WRAL, Alec Murdaugh's double murder convictions were overturned this week, and a new trial was ordered for the murders of his wife and son. Dateline in the matter of Alec Murdaugh airs tonight at 9 on WRAL.
New here into the WRAL Live Center, Goldsboro police have arrested a 39-year-old man. He is now charged with multiple counts of second-degree child sexual exploitation. His name is Nicholas Gangemi. Goldsboro police say the SBI was involved. They ended up finding a child pornography in a home that he was in. He is now again facing 10 counts of second-degree sexual exploitation of a minor.
As we wrap things up here, let's take a look at a few of the headlines we are following today. The Broughton High School teacher charged with 13 child sex crimes with 3 different victims dating back to 2005 is now banned from Scouting America. A statement from the organization says Stephen Cole's membership in Scouting has been revoked, and he is permanently prohibited from any participation in Scouting programs. We're still working to confirm what role that he held in the organization. He's being held in jail on no bond and suspended from Wake County schools with pay.
A federal hearing was delayed for the South Carolina man arrested for threatening to kill the president. Daniel Swain, who is being held in Virginia, was arrested in Apex last month. This was because he had threatening messages toward the president written on his car. And he did not appear in court today, but his attorney requested that hearing be continued. Swain will be back in federal court in early June.
Spontaneous combustion caused a big fire at a Harnett County recycling center. The fire started yesterday afternoon at Liberty Tire Recycling on McCoy Road. That's in Cameron. 11 fire departments and crews from the Forestry Department helped put out the flames. No one was hurt.
Egypt has officially opened 2 tombs now that their restorations are complete. The newly opened tombs are of Amenhotep and his son Samut. The tombs were found completely covered with rubble in 2020, and they have since gone through a long rebuilding and maintenance process. Yesterday, Egypt's Minister of Tourism and Antiquities inaugurated the tombs for public viewing.
Well, songs from Beyonce and Taylor Swift are the latest additions to the National Recording Registry. Queen Bee's song Single Ladies and Taylor Swift's album 1989 will now be memorialized in the Library of Congress. These are the first recordings by Swift and Beyonce to be selected for the registry. In total, 25 recordings will enter the registry in this round of preservation. Other additions include selections from Chaka Khan, Ray Charles, and Gladys Knight.
The second you said Single Ladies in my head.
Oh, Single Ladies. You know it.
Well, our pet of the day comes to us from the SPCA of Wake County. This is Giratina, a bearded dragon like a real-life Pokemon, like the actual Pokemon if you play the game. Giratina is 15 weeks old. He is bold and friendly and arrived at that shelter starved, but has since started eating well. That's good. If you are interested in adopting Giratina, the bearded dragon, you can visit spca.org. And I will say, this is like the second day of a row with nerdy names for animals. Yesterday, we had some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and today, Pokemon. I'm here for it.
Yeah. New Innovation District. This afternoon at 4, the plans for growth at North Hills and Raleigh, and what residents are saying about the changes.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL with your next local news update in about 30 minutes.
And don't forget, you can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. We hope you have a great weekend.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.